Kia ora guys, welcome back to my channel. I thought to follow on from my heart story, which I'll link down below if you haven't seen, I thought I'd do a video based on how I kind of keep myself as healthy as possible, all things considering. So as I said in that video, one of the things with living with a heart condition is that you really need to take good care of yourself. This is to make life easier for you, all things considering, as well as just making the most of whatever circulatory system you have. For me, as I said in that video, I kind of have the circulatory system of a fish. So these are my kind of 5 things that I would recommend, kind of basics, healthcare. Anyone can take this into account, but for a heart child it's especially important, whether or not you are in your teen years, your child years, or whether or not you are like me and an adult. So let's get on into that. Number 1, the first thing I would recommend is to listen to your cardiologist. Now it sounds ridiculously simple, but your cardiologist is the wealth of knowledge when it comes to your condition. There are so many different conditions out there, and that, as well as the medication that you could possibly be on, will have a huge impact on what you can and can't do. My cardiologist is really approachable, and whatever I ask them, they will generally kind of consider. By listening to your cardiologist, it's not just the general healthcare things. I mean, if they say, look, I really don't recommend that you drink, probably listen to that. I will kind of test the boundaries with that a bit. I have a tattoo, I've got pierced nose, as you can see. When it comes to things like that, definitely ask your cardiologist before going ahead with it, but it doesn't mean it's impossible. Basically, listen to them. They are not trying to stop you from doing anything. They're not the bad person. They're really trying to help you. And I know as a teenager it can be really hard to listen to another adult, but they're not your parents, and they only care about your health. So they will work out what you physically or can and can't do, and what is a big risk for you, etc. But definitely listen to them and ask questions. They are very approachable, and some institutes, both Auckland Hospital and the Bristol Royal Institute, which I am now with, have specialist nurses, which are amazing sources of knowledge. They are generally able to answer your question, and if not, they will poach it to the cardiologist again. So that's a big number 1. Number 2. This again is something that my cardiologist definitely recommended, and it is to look after your teeth. So teeth are something that we will only get, we get one set of as a kid, and then we get our adult set, but once we've got our adult set, we ain't getting any more. So not only do you want to have a pretty smile, it's not that can impact your heart. Everyone wants to see a pretty smiling face. I don't know what I'm going on about now. Periodontal disease or tooth disease can end up causing bacteria to go into your bloodstream, which can then end up landing in places with scar tissue, which, if you've had heart surgery, would be your heart. So one of the things that my cardiologist recommended to me and a lot of heart kids is to go to the dentist yearly, to brush regularly, to listen to what the dentist says again, because the last thing you want is to end up with complications with your heart because you didn't look after your teeth. So I go for a yearly scale and polish with my dentist. She's always been amazing. She knows that I have a heart condition, and so sometimes I will go on prophylactic antibiotics beforehand just to prevent anything that could possibly happen. She will take great care of me, but again, advise your dentist that you have a heart condition, and really do take good care of your teeth, because as I say, it's the last thing you want, that you've taken good care of your body and then your teeth are like what causes you to end up with more problems. Number 3 is diet. I was terrible as a teenager. I lived on meat pies. Actually, it was steak and cheese pies. And then as a child, I loved fizzy drinks, as much as my parents tried to keep me away from it. But now as an adult, once I got into vet school, I really was like, Kezia, you need to sort out your shit, because you don't want to be battling your way through this and end up failing because you physically cannot handle it. So my diet, I then pulled back. I cut out a lot of my high fat foods. I used to get, as I say, a lot of steak and cheese pies. Really don't know how much steak goes into them. but cutting out fat, as much fat as possible. I can't remember the last time I had takeaways, and I try and keep a low salt diet. I won't add salt to anything in my home cooked meals. In terms of having a busy schedule and being really lazy and trying to buy like pre-packet food, Brendan and I decided earlier in the year to sign up to HelloFresh. So they send out all the fresh ingredients and the recipes to make meals for the two of us for 5 days of the week, which means that I know what goes into the food, it's not highly processed, and I can take out what I don't want. So if they have given something with cream, sometimes I try to find something else that will go with it. But really it is important to take a look at that diet, because that diet will not only impact your energy levels, but it will also impact obviously your weight. I did find I did get a little bit podgy when I was a teenager, and that slowed me down hugely. Like I could nowhere near walk or do as much as I can now. So it really is important to take care of your diet. I don't mean starve yourself, but really just take into account, you know, do I need to eat this? Is there something else I can have instead? Just basic kind of dietary stuff. Again, coming from the cardiologist, I'm sure most people will be aware that high fat, high salt diets are not good for people with heart conditions, or if you're trying to prevent a heart attack. Number 4. Now this is one that I was terrible at again as a teenager. Because of my heart condition, with me it means I can't run. If I run like 100 meters or so, I'm bent over double, like really puffing. I just physically cannot do it. So I became quite lazy as a teenager. I was super competitive, and as you heard in my last story, I burnt myself out in gymnastics, and then I got quite scared about doing too much exercise, so I pulled myself back and just removed myself from those situations completely, so I wasn't tempted to do it. But this meant that again I was eating lots of meat pies and not really exercising much, so I would struggle to walk a kilometre, which was really quite sad. When I got into vet school, I really had to kick my ass with this. If I was realistically going to be doing the work that I needed to do, I needed to get my cardio up. As I said, I couldn't run, but the heart is a muscle and it can be strengthened. So for me, I found that lots of regular walking, and I did eventually go to the gym. Now, the gym can be quite a daunting experience, especially if you don't know what you're doing and you have limitations. Like, I really shouldn't hold anything that is too heavy above my head due to changes in blood pressure. At my university, there is a huge sports institute. One of my friends was doing personal training courses, and he had to make up workouts for people with disabilities, and I said to him, hey, would you be able to have I'll explain to you my condition and what I can and can't do. Can you sort out something that maybe I could do? So he took me to the gym, he put me through a few exercises, things that I could and couldn't do. He made me a routine, and this kind of got me into it. So it's really basic what I do at the gym. Most of it is cardio, and that's just walking on the treadmill because I want to keep my cardio up because I need it to get through the day. I do notice if I don't do anything for a while, again, the heart is a muscle, it will lose that strength and I will get tired a lot more easily. So I just find regular walking 3-4 times a week just keeps that energy up and makes me perform better at work and just able to have a bit more of a life outside of work as well. And on to my final point, number 5, is sleep. Sleep. I love sleep. And sleep is super important. One of the things with me with having a heart condition is I get super tired, like absolutely physically exhausted. There have been points where I just can't lift myself off the floor or the bed. I'm just knackered. So for me, I have come to realise as I've gotten a bit older that sleep is something that you really need. If I don't get more than 8 hours of sleep a night, I am a zombie the next day. And I've also found out I'm not so much of a morning person. Even if I get those 8 hours of sleep, if I'm getting up really early, my body just can't handle it. There are some days where after working a full week, I am totally shattered and I'm like, I need to go to the gym, I need to, make sure that I'm keeping the exercise up. I forgo it and have sleep instead, and to be honest, I am better for it. So sometimes you really just have to learn to read your body. I've also started taking, this sounds really lame, but I've started taking power naps, especially on the weekend after working. I have food and then I just nap for half an hour. If I go for longer than half an hour, I am just like hallucinating the entire day. I'm like, what day is it? Where am I living? Oh God. But half an hour is enough just to get me kind of a bit of energy, enough to actually enjoy the rest of my day. Your body sometimes just needs to rest, and that can just make your whole general well-being a lot better. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. I just thought I'd do something touching on the heart-child thing, and it's something that I'm really passionate about, is taking care of my body. I've got what I have, and that's what I've got to work with, and I just want to keep it as strong as possible so that I can really make the most out of my life and enjoy every single day. So I hope you enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up if you do, and comment down below if you can think of anything else, if you're in a similar situation, or you'd like to see more of these videos. Hope you have a good day, everyone. Love you lots, and I'll see you next time. Bye! I feel like a dog. Do, 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 do.